Super Mario RPG is not a game known for its robust amount of options. Your characters gain a limited set of equipment throughout the game, a small set of abilities, and the level system caps out at level 30. It's a pretty simple RPG, but it obviously left a huge mark on all of us. The Forest Maze is a place I will never forget, and the song has forever been ingrained in my head. Super Mario RPG paved the way for tons of future Mario-related RPG titles to follow it. But the one thing that was always notable to me about Super Mario RPG was I always felt like I had found everything it had to offer as a kid. When I played through it a few times, I felt like it did a great job exploring the game completely and stumbling upon every secret it contained. But that wasn't exactly true. Because revisiting it years later, especially for the lowest coin count challenge video that I released a few months ago, which if you haven't watched that yet, I highly recommend checking it out. Anyways, revisiting it made me realize how much I actually missed. And one item in particular was one I would have never even given a chance because its appearance was extremely misleading. And that is a simple hammer. Now in Super Mario RPG, we of course get a hammer right at the start of the game. It's our first weapon outside of our deadly fisticuffs. After defeating the Hammer Bros, we pluck it from their corpse and crush many skulls going forward. But this act is actually what sets up a weird occurrence later on in the game. Because as many players know, throughout the game, we continually get more and more weapons for each character. Once a new and more powerful weapon has been obtained, it honestly doesn't make sense at all to hold on to the old ones. Mind you, we can never get them back, but there's also no true reason to equip them again. Mario goes through shells, gloves, and other hammers throughout the game, and as we progress, we shed the ones we came across before. Majority of this equipment is free too. We can find items like the Knock Knock Shell and Masher for free within levels. So we head into a shop and discard our old gear. But that concept of purging old gear and remembering what we once had is what sets the stage for the bizarre reappearance of our first weapon. Upon clearing Seaside Town, we are given new equipment to purchase. Due to the nature of the town, I really wasn't trustworthy of anyone here, even after the area was cleared. So when stocking up on new equipment, I just did what every other kid did. Scroll through the items that had new names and see if it increased my stats. If it did, I bought the item and moved on. Unfortunately, you couldn't check in the shop to see what the stats were, but you could reload after buying if it was a bad purchase. At this point in the game, we probably already had the Masher for Mario, which boosts his attack power by plus 50. If we did not grab the Masher in Booster's Tower, we probably will just grab the Trooper Shell in the shop for 90 coins. We notice a hammer is in the shop, but we don't even scroll down to it because it's at the bottom of the menu. Even if we did, the hammer is overpriced, which is fitting for Seaside Town, but also incredibly weak compared to whatever equipment we have. In our brain as a kid, we register this hammer as just a normal hammer. This shop is literally full of all sorts of old gear that doesn't make sense to buy again. It's kind of annoying though because we recognize the names, but there is no way to actually check equipment stats while in the shop. As we look at the selection, it's very clear that most of this is just recycled gear that we never truly want to use again. But that's what also sets up the illusion. As for the hammer, I don't think I even scrolled down to it because I still have my old hammer in my inventory. And in future playthroughs, I sold my hammer, but knew how weak it was already. But this hammer in the shop is different despite having the same name. It has the ability to grant you a lucky in a battle just for successfully hitting a timed attack. Although resources online state that it has an attack power of 20, 10 more than the actual hammer we get at the start of the game, the truth is the true attack power of the hammer is 0. It doesn't increase your attack at all. But that doesn't mean this isn't a ridiculous item. With lucky bonuses and a keen eye, you can almost always double your winnings in every fight, from total EXP to coins. If you want the power level or farm coins, this hammer is the way to go. Honestly, this item is so incredibly useful, but the way it is framed made majority of players overlook it. And unless you frame the perspective of this concept from the eyes of a child, you might be thinking this video is pointless. Context and perspective is pretty much everything. The description for the item says a lucky hammer, and nothing else. But if you sold your previous hammer, you wouldn't have your old item's description to compare it to. For all you knew, this was the same item, and it was just overpriced in the shop as a joke. You assumed it was your old gear and moved on without buying it. I know I did. And it blew my mind years later when I encountered it again, and actually had the tools to look up what it actually was. It was the perfect hidden item from a developer point of view, because it was thrown in amongst tons of items we had already discarded on our journey. It didn't stick out from the crowd because of that. And I didn't have a computer back in '96 or strategy guides, so like lots of other kids, this weapon was simply overlooked. But what about you? Did you know about this? Whether you did or didn't, I'd love to know. You can actually vote by clicking the eye icon at the top of the video and casting your vote. I'm curious to see the results. And with that, thanks for watching guys and gals, and until my next video, Cheers.